Welcome once again. This is Prime News. I'm Michael Anos. All right, it seems like this economic crisis, a ticking time bomb. Our situation more dire with each passing second. You got to ask, have you ever heard President Bush talk about the economy like this?
Major sectors of America's financial system are at risk of shutting down. The government's top economic experts warn that without immediate action by Congress, America could slip into a financial panic and a distressing scenario would unfold. More banks could fail, including some in your community. The stock market would drop even more, which would reduce the value of your retirement account. The value of your home could plummet.
All right, no sugarcoating there. It sounds pretty frightening here. And just about an hour ago, you're looking at that fresh video. President Bush met with presidential candidates Barack Obama and John McCain to discuss the economy and Washington's proposed $700 billion bailout plan.
My hope is that we can reach an agreement very shortly.
All right, all the powers that be were in that room. So where do we stand on this bailout plan right now? Let's start there anyway. And joining us now, CNN senior business analyst Ali Velshi. Also joining us, the Watchdog on Wall Street. It's the name of the radio show. And here's the host, Chris Markowski, joins us again. You also want to check him out at watchdogonwallstreet.com. All right, Ali, let's start with you. Give us the update. Where do we stand with this plan? Kind of getting mixed reports whether or not we have a closer to a deal or not. What do you got?
Yeah, Mike, we are on bailout watch right now. It looks like there is broad agreement by most parties that we're going to have a plan and we're going to get something going. There's still a bunch of holdouts who think that there should be no bailout under any circumstances for people who did bad things. But the bottom line is these credit markets in this country, that's not the stock market, the credit markets, the money, the markets that loan money to banks and to companies, they have dried up. They've seized up and they need some kind of a plan. So it looks like their aim is to get something done by the latest Monday morning, but we could have the announcement of a plan or the framework of a plan by tonight and big work on it tomorrow, Mike.
Okay, Al, let me stay with you with one more, then I'll get Chris in. Do we need to act and act now? Ben Bernanke basically said yes. If we don't, we're going to lose more jobs, more home foreclosures. You agree?
Yeah, Mike, we're going to lose more jobs and there are going to be more home foreclosures and there are going to be higher interest rates no matter what, even if we do this plan. This plan does not get us any further ahead. It probably just stops us from sliding backwards, particularly on the financial side.
All right, how about you, Chris? Do we need to have something done by Monday? No holds barred?
I think we definitely need to get something done by Monday. Ali's right about the credit markets. I mentioned this yesterday on your show about Caterpillar and their need to get paper. I actually spoke with somebody recently, 6 offers on their home. 6 offers on their home, and every single offer, the person couldn't get a mortgage. We had one of the major car dealerships here in the South, Bill Hurd, get shut down. No credit, and it's just tightening up.
Wow. Okay, let's get some calls in. A lot of folks want to weigh in, have comments and questions. Let's start with Michael in Florida. Michael, go ahead.
Good talking to you, sir.
Yeah, thanks for calling.
My thoughts are, why don't we just cut the middleman out of it, give $1 million to every taxpayer in the country. That money will go straight into the bank. That'll cut it right there.
Well, I like the idea of $1 million in my pocket. Ali, I mean, we had a couple emails on that saying the same thing.
Sure, it's a big theme. We've heard this a lot. Bottom line is the damage doesn't spread out evenly amongst all Americans. And by the way, it amounts to about $2,000, just a little over $2,000 per American, and then $5,100 per taxpayer. So the bottom line is it's a top-down system where banks borrow money from other banks, companies borrow money from banks. So the banks actually have to have a lot of money in order for you to get your loans and for companies to get their money. Remember, Caterpillar had a hard time raising some money. They paid more than double what they would have paid a week ago just to raise money. That's a solid, steady company. Caterpillar has employees. If they don't meet their payments, they're not in danger, but that's the kind of thing. We have to actually have the banks and the companies that employ Americans having access to money and filtering it down. But it does sound like a nice idea to have that in your pocket. It would only amount to about $5,000, not $1 million.
Gotcha. You know, so many people want to chime in. We're getting calls, emails. I'd like to get an email out there. This is from Elizabeth in Clyde, North Carolina. Elizabeth saying this: Wall Street's been laughing at Main Street for more than 15 years, and now they want us to bail them out so they can continue to laugh at us while living their country club, cigar-smoking lifestyles. No way. Chris, there's a lot of folks out there feeling that. It's like, you know, hey, I bought my house, I pay my bills, now we're bailing out Wall Street fat cats. Do they have a beef or not?
Absolutely. I hear you. I'm right with you. I understand this, and this is the one problem that I have. In this bill, they're talking about cutting down on executive compensation. I'm under the belief that, you know what they should do? They should start breaking up these large investment banks. We had the whole Glass-Steagall argument going back to the 1990s. I can't name one good thing that has come out of that. Not one good thing by appealing that. It has hurt Americans, and Americans are ticked off, and rightfully so, but what are you going to do? We're in a situation right now, you're listing down on the bottom, it's going to cost Americans $2,200-something per American. I think what Bush should have done last night and said, listen, we make money on this deal, we're sending you the dividend check.
Yep.
Yep, I think that would have been a much better thing.
Ali, did the president go far enough last night?
He didn't admit there was a problem with the economy until January, Mike, so he's kind of overdoing it on this end. But the rest of us were telling us that there were problems in the economy. We saw foreclosures. We saw retail sales start dipping last September. I don't have a staff of economists. He does. So, you know, I don't know. I understand why Americans are frustrated, but the bottom line is we can't spit in the wind on this one. We have to get out of this problem. And they've done a bad job. They've called it a Wall Street bailout. It's a bad job of convincing Americans that it's tied to them. It's money that they need access to, and that's why this has to be done. But boy, you got to hold your nose and swallow this one.
Yeah, good point there. As well put. Let's get another call in. Lucille in Iowa. Lucille, what's your comment and question?
Okay, these guys are all idiots up on Capitol Hill anyway. Why don't they tell us what's in this $700 billion? $1.2 billion going to Africa for the farmers, and we have to bail out the overseas bank? This is bullshit.
Wow, there you go. All right, Lucille, thanks for that. Our beeper button wasn't working at that point. Al, you hear the frustration there.
Yeah.
Give us that. I think even the head of the Congressional Budget Office didn't even know the details. Do you know the details? We know anything?
No, we don't. We're waiting for that to come out. There are lots of speculation. We will get the details. This isn't going to be passed until it is sent out. And by the way, there's a lot of frustration across America about this, so we will know about this. But what the White House has asked for and what I think we're going to get is a relatively clean bill, which means not a bunch of other things. But it doesn't make up for all the other expenditures that we've made that some taxpayers may not agree with. This is a new expenditure that we weren't planning for. And by the way, Mike, for all those people who think they're getting tax cuts, you might not get as much as you think as a result of this bill.
Yeah, Chris, let's pick up on that real quick. Both candidates talking tax cuts. Is that out the window now with all this going on?
Well, I mean, I was under the belief that I think if they had actually cut capital gains and been a little bit more proactive, at least he's been talking about the slowdown in the economy. I'm in ground zero, you know, Southwest Florida. We've known that there's been a problem with the real estate market going back to 2005. If maybe instead of doing this and said, hey, listen, anybody who picks up this bad paper is going to get a capital gains holiday. You're not going to have to pay any taxes on this. You're going to get a 15% bonus marked into that. We wouldn't even need this type of a deal. You know, there's a lot of uncertainty surrounding the markets, the credit markets, our entire economy. A lot of that has to do in regards to what the tax policies are going to be. If there was some clarity, it might free up the credit markets as well. We might not have to go on this route.
Yeah, people just want to understand the basics. Who's getting the money? Where's it going? Are we going to get anything back as taxpayers? Those answers aren't there yet. Let's get another question out there. Robert in Hawaii. Robert, what's your comment or question?
My question is, with all of this bipartisan activity on the $700 billion bailout plan, what happens when the legislation reaches Bush's desk and he uses one of his trademark secret signing statements to manipulate the intent of Congress?
Ali, you see that happening? I don't see that happening.
No, I think the White House needs this more than anybody needs this right now. The White House is that's why Bush is meeting with both candidates and party leaders right now to try and hammer out a deal. I mean, you do not see President Bush over talking on the economy very often. He's normally out there saying it's not as bad as you think. For him to have made that serious speech and tell you how bad it is, I think the White House wants a deal very quickly, and if they get one, President Bush is going to sign it.
All right, gentlemen, we're going to have to leave it there. Ali Velshi, Chris Markowski, appreciate your insights, guys. Invaluable. Ali, I know you don't have a life. Probably won't until this thing's wrapped up.
Good to see you, Mike.
Yeah, thanks again, guys.